What is going on, guys? Welcome to another update for the week. Today I'm going to give you guys an update on the 54-gallon tank, the new addition to the tank, and the overall growth of the plants. Now let's start with the obvious. Obviously I added a bunch of new angelfish into the tank. These are the red shoulderback angelfish that I was mentioning on the previous update for this tank. I had these guys back in June and they were in quarantine for about 2 months. And then I had them in a separate temporary tank to figure out, where I want to put these guys. And for the time being, I think that I want to put them in this, in this tank with the other two autumn pairs here. Let them grow out a little bit bigger. And then from there, maybe cut down the size to only like keep half of them. Or if they start pairing off, I'll most likely only keep the pairs and then probably sell off the rest. Now, these guys are still juveniles. When I bought them, they were very tiny. They actually didn't have any red on them. I think only one of them had like a very smidge bit of red on them. And I was kind of hesitant and kind of weary in terms of, are these really, red shoulderbacks? You kind of have to have a little bit of trust on the buyer that you're buying from because, when they say it's one thing and you get them at a very small size, you may not get what, they are, or you may not get the right fish. Just recently, the fish has developed to a certain size where the red pigment on their shoulder is starting to show. I've seen these guys online when I was looking at angelfish way back when I was getting into autumn angelfish, and I noticed, there was a red version of these or similar where they had autumn stripes and their back was just red. I thought it was pretty interesting. And at the time, I was really curious, but I really wanted the autumns initially. And eventually, of course, I wanted to get these other guys just to see how they were as well. Now, when I picked these guys up, their fins were not the best. I got them at a very discounted price because they were super cringy. The fins were all bent. They were not in the greatest shape in terms of picking out angelfish. So what I did was I cut off some of their fins that were kind of deformed, and they all grew back basically in perfect or near perfect form. So a lot of these guys are actually way better than what they started off. I'm talking about like their fins were bent like sideways. It was just really bad looking. But luckily I'm happy that, they all healed up. They grew back their fins and, they are looking really, really nice now. Only time will tell in terms of how red they'll develop. These guys are the super red version, not just like your normal red shoulderback. Apparently they're supposed to be ultra red. So I'm hoping to see, some crazy red colors out of these guys. But like I said, only time will tell. So we'll see what happens. All right, so let's talk about the tank. Now, I was having issues growing the plants. One of the things I made an adjustment on was the light. The light, I believe, was way too low to the tank. I probably raised it maybe another 6 inches or so. I pulled out my par meter and measured, the whole tank and won it about 200-ish to 250-ish at the very top of the tank. So as the plant reaches to the top. And at the bottom, it could be anywhere from 70 to 90-ish at the very bottom of the tank. The previous reading before was the top was close to like 390 or 380, close to 400. So I think that a lot of the plants were kind of getting like too much light and they were getting like burnt. So by making that small adjustment and kind of dialing the CO2, I noticed that the plant started to grow a little bit better. The one plant that really liked the adjustment was my Ligwigia pantanoles. It finally started to turn red again. Now, in my previous setup, I had an SAE and obviously the angelfish and discus in here. They actually really love to pick at the plants and kind of just eat the plants. So I don't have an SAE anymore in the tank, but I still have obviously the angelfish. They still peck at the plants here and there, but it's not as severe as it was when we had an SAE in the tank. As far as the other plants goes, the Belixa Novo, the plant basically lost half the size. And it really retracted all the way back, which is also a good thing for me because the mother plant was just ginormic. The other plus to it melting back on me was that it started to split. So when I started, I only had 2 plants. Now I actually have 4 plants. So I'm hoping to keep it kind of a medium size, plant here. If it gets super, super big like last time, I may want to start trimming it back. But right now, the size is actually really nice. So another addition to the tank was I added a max jet power head into the tank to create more oxygen for the fish. It's on a timer, so it will turn on when the lights are on and turn off when the lights are off so that the fish can actually rest at night. So I'm happy so far with the tank's development. I'm hoping to see the fish grow in, start developing more red, and hopefully the plants will start to thrive and take off. Alright guys, and that is the update for the week. If you guys aren't subscribed yet, make sure you guys are subscribed. And like always, till next time guys, peace.